Now we asked to find the exact value of this expression here. Now since we have to do multiplication before addition or subtraction based on the order of operation known as BODMAS, brackets, then division or multiplication, addition or subtraction. Multiplication must be done before addition or subtraction based on what we have here. So I'll work out the multiplication first. But notice that these two fractions that are operating here by addition, we can actually work them out separately as well, or simultaneously as we work out this one. So once we get the answer for this and this, we can subtract them. So the LCM of 6 and 3 is 6. Now why am I finding the LCM? That is because when you're adding and subtracting two fractions, their denominators must be the same, and if not, you will find the LCM. 6 goes into 6 once, and so 1 times 5 gives us 5. 3 goes into 6 twice, so 2 times 2 is 4. Minus, simplifying this, 7 goes in 7 once, into 5, 35 5 times. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. Now 4 times 1 is 4. 5 3 is 15. Now I need to find the LCM of these guys, 6 and 15. Now let me just rewrite this as 9 over 6 first. So I would say that the LCM of 6 and 15 is 30. Why is that though? Because 15 does not have 6 as a factor. In other words, 6 cannot enter 15. But look at 30. Both 6 and 15 can enter 30. Therefore, 30 is a multiple of 6 and 15, and it's the lowest number that both can enter. So this is our LCM. 30 is a multiple of both of these numbers. Now 6 into 30 goes 5 times. So 5 9s, that's give us 45. 15 into 30 goes twice. And 2 times 4 give us 8. Now when we subtract these guys here, 8 from 45, that give us 37. We put about 30. We can actually simplify this. 30 goes into 37 once. Remainder 7 over 30. And that's it. Now what about if we want to use our calculator? How would we do that? So let's grab a hold of our calculator. I'm going to enter this information in it. Let me just clear the screen. And then let's put 5 6 plus 2/3 minus 12. No, that should be 12. I'm going to press the fraction button here. I'm going to press the fraction button here, which is 35, times 7 over, and press this fraction button, over 9, and equal, and I get the same answer, 37 over 30. If you want to mix number, you press shift and press this SD key. Since above it we can see the fraction buttons right here, so we press this and we can see it in mixed number. If you want decimal, you press this, although it's not needed since this 3 is recurring. And so that will be your solution. Now let's move to the next part of question 1. We have the square root of 1 minus cos 37. And cos 37 is being squared here. So when we work out this in our calculator, we will correct to 3 decimal places. Now just think about decimal places. If I have 0.1, that's 1 decimal place. I mean, this digit, we have 1 digit after the point. If I do this, we have 2 decimal places, 2 digits after the point. If I want this, 3 decimal places, not if I want. If we have this number, we have 3 decimal places, and so forth. So that's what we talk about, decimal places, how many places after the decimal point. But sometimes we're asked to correct numbers or round numbers, since we don't want all those digits after the point. They're too many sometimes, and so we may need to cut down on the number of decimal places, and so we'll round them. Now, in order for us to do this, we will need the decimal value for this. So let's put the square root button in our calculator, then press 1 minus the cosine of 37 close bracket, and then we square. Then press equal. And the solution is 0.601815, etc. Now, this is definitely a lot more than 3 decimal places. But what we're going to do here, we count after the point, please. Decimal places mean places after the decimal point. So this is our first decimal place, which is 6. Second, 0. Third, 1. Now, since we want up to 3 decimal places, 1, 2, 3. The 1 is in that position. Do we keep 1 or do we add 1 to make it 2? Well, we'll check the very next digit. If the very next digit is in the category of 5 or more, we add a 1 to the 1. That is 1 to the previous. If not, if it's less than 5, we keep it as what it is. Now, this is actually 5 or more. In the category of 5 or more, so we're going to add 1 to 1, and we're going to get 2. So the answer is 0.602. Write in standard form 0.00527. Now, in standard form, we want that number to be a number between 1 and 10. And let that number be represented by A. So A must be greater than or equal to 1. This opening means greater than, since we're going to the left, reading from right to left. We meet the opening, so that's greater than. When reading this direction, we meet the small part, so we say less than. So A is greater than or equal, this dash means equal. A is greater than or equal to 1. So in other words, from 1 right up to what? Well, less than 10. So any number between 1 and 10, including 1, but not 10. So how are we going to write this number as a number between 1 and 10? Right now, it's actually less than 1. It starts with 0 point something. 0 point. No, so that means less than 1. Because the whole number portion is not 1. It's actually less than 1. So in order for us to write it as a number between 1 and 10, we have to move that point. But where do we put it? Between the first 2 significant figures, between 5 and 2. So that number now is 5.27. And 5.27 is really a number between 1 and 10. Isn't that so? Now, we have to make sure that we multiply. The actual standard form is a times 10 to the nth power. So we have to multiply by 10 to a power. Now, this n is an integer, meaning that n is a member of the set of integers. And the set of integers are basically what? Positive and negative whole numbers. Let's say we have negative coming from negative infinity to negative 2 to negative 1 to 0, then 1, then 2, etc. All right, so what is the integer represented as n for this portion, for this question? Well, since we shift the point 1, 2, 3 places, then the power will be 3. But should it be negative or positive? Here's the key. As long as the number starts with a 0, it's negative. And it makes sense. Think about it. Because we have 5.27. If we were to multiply by a positive power of 10, then the point will shift to the right when we're trying to get back the ordinary number. But because it's negative, in trying to get the ordinary number, we'll shift the point to the left. So 3 places to the left, indicated by negative 3. The negative 3 places to the left. So I'll move it 1, 2, 3 to get it back to where it was before. Paul works at a call center for 35 hours each week. He's paid an hourly rate of $11.20. So calculate the amount of money Paul earns in a 4-week month. So we can calculate the number of hours he worked in a 4-week month. He worked 35 hours a week, right? That makes sense? Well, that's what's given. 35 hours each week. So you multiply by 4 to find how many hours he works in a month. Right? This is the hours worked in a 4-week month. And 4 times 35 is what? 140. Right? So that's the amount of hours he works in a 4-week month. But how much is he paid per hour though? He's paid an hourly rate of $11.20. So for every hour he works, he gets $11.20. Think about it. For every hour you work, you get $11.20. But you work 140 hours. So therefore, money earned over that period will be what? Right? It'll be $11.20, right, per hour, multiplied by what? 140 hours. Because for every hour you get $11.20. You work 140 hours, you multiply it. This will happen. Hours cancel hours. And 11 times 11.2 or 11.20 times 140. Let's put that in our calculator. And we see we get $1,568. Now we're told that in a certain week, Paul works 8 hours overtime. That's a key point. Overtime hours are paid at time and a half. That is 1.5 times the usual rate. The usual rate is $11.20 per hour. Find the total amount of money Paul is paid for that week. So for 1 week. So Paul pay will include what? Usual week's pay, right? Plus overtime, right? Overtime pay for that week. So two things we want to calculate, or we want to get the usual week's pay plus the overtime pay. Now, do we know the usual week's pay? Well, since for 4 weeks he get $15.68 for 1 week, you just divide this by 4, right? So it's gonna be 1,568 divided by 4. And we're going to add the overtime pay. What's the overtime pay? Well, the overtime pay is paid at time and a half. So it's going to be the overtime rate. Let's calculate the overtime rate. And that's how we calculate overtime rate. Right? Normal rate times the 1.5 here, because at time and a half. And the normal rate is what? $11.20 times the time and a half. Let's put that in our calculator. 1.5 times 11.20, and that gives us 1680. If you get a fraction in the calculator, you just need to press that S to D button, and you get that 1680. So that's the overtime rate. So for every hour he works overtime, he's getting $16.80. So we need to calculate the overtime pay. That will be $16.80 per hour overtime times how many hours overtime? 8 hours overtime, we're told. So when you calculate this, you get the total amount of money for that week. So that will be what? Let's calculate. 1568 divided by 4 is 392 per week for the normal rate, and then we're going to multiply 1680 by 8 to get the overtime pay, and that's 134.40, and so the total pay, when adding those together, we'll get $526.40.